Hey, this is Dr. Keith Hersey, and you are listening to the Destroying Diabetes podcast. Hi, thank you again, everyone, for agreeing to listen, give me another chance with this podcast. And like I said, I'm glad that they let me in. They didn't lock the door. So I guess I'm able to do another episode. One day, I'm sure they're going to get in here and they're going to lock the door and not let me in. But as long as they let me in, I'm gonna keep doing it, and really appreciate all the support. Like I said, just continue to subscribe, just pass along the podcast. Anybody that has an internet connection can listen to it all over the world. Um, we just love giving this information out for people. We get a lot of feedback, and I appreciate the feedback that we get for every episode. With this episode, I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm just so pleased to have him as a guest. This is Troy Johnson, otherwise known as Brother Troy. He's just really someone in this area that's a lot of people look up to. He has a nonprofit. He's the executive director of it for was Young Men for Christ, and they do a lot of great work in the community, and it helps a lot of young men. That's kind of how I found out about him. He also has a, a show, the Bro Code, and you can get that podcast. You can look it up on YouTube. It's widely available. So actually, why I have him on there, he has a lot of uh, background with what we deal with. He is a success coach. He works with people with weight transformation, just a lot with mindset. He in himself, and I'm gonna let him talk about it, had a substantial weight loss and weight transformation. So he's been there. He's been, at well, maybe, your health is not the best. You're looking for the turnaround. You may have your type 2 diabetes. You may be newly diagnosed and want to know what you need to do to what kind of mindset you got to get into to be able to live with it. If you're someone that had it for years and haven't been able to get it under control, just wanted you to listen to listen to Brother Troy. He can let you know what's worked for him and what he's seen that work with people that he worked with. So um just that you want don't get tired of listening to me. So I'm gonna let Brother Troy take the floor, and he can just take it from there. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you for having me, man.
Okay. So, let's go a little bit, I guess, about your story, about where you were at and how you were able to make the big transformation as far as weight. I think you said that you lost over 200 some pounds.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was bigger than big, Keith. I was 31. I'm 44 now, but at 31, I was about 475 pounds, pre-diabetic, borderline, pretty much with any and everything that you can think of when it comes to our culture, right? Whether that be high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fluid around the joints, um, pre-diabetic. I was taking all kind of medications. Now I was a jolly fat kid, but I was fat nonetheless, Keith, and it was really putting a lot of pressure on my knees. It was putting a lot of pressure on my heart, of course. Um, and I got to a point where it was also affecting my job. You know, the doctors themselves were. I was getting to a point where I had to do something, and it was outside of just medication, but actually having surgery. And at 31 years young, I am dealing with all of these medical issues, and I made a hard decision, Keith. Glad I did though, man. 13 years ago, I had gastric bypass surgery, and I chose to turn my stomach from the size of basically a grapefruit to a golf ball on purpose. And though it was hard in the beginning, man, dealing with all of those ailments that we talked about, it was really a turning point for my life in more ways than one. So that was the beginning stages. And I guess for those that are listening, some might say, "Man, 475. How did you let yourself, get to that space?" And I believe that for me, and maybe others will have similar stories or do have the similar stories where um it for me it wasn't a confidence thing. So my weight never took away from how I felt about me personally. I was just twice the size that I am now. My gumption for life, my fortitude, my joy, and my happiness towards living was the same, Keith. I just was huge, man. And though I didn't see the detriment, my body was telling me that the weight was a detriment. Um, I'm holding going up steps was hard. Doing any type of physical activity became started to become hard and cumbersome. So I made the choice, man. And over time, I just continued to gain the weight, man. For me, I would always eat the wrong things at the wrong time. And though I'm smaller than I was then, just to recap, I know people probably listening like, how much do you weigh now, man? I stay about 197 pounds. But it was vigorous work. It was a shift of mindset, a shift of will, a unlearning, relearning, and acknowledgement of what was necessary for me. Um, but that took time, Keith. That took a lot of time, bro.
Mm, yeah, it definitely like a major life change like that. It would
Sure.
definitely take time. What would you say, like, as far as your mindset and others that may be listening, and say if someone they want to make a change, and it might not necessarily be losing over 200 pounds, but they have type 2 diabetes, they've struggled with it, the medications have increased and continue to pile on, they get lectured by their doctor every few months when they come in for a checkup, and they get all
Mhm.
the warnings from the doctors and people in their family. What would you say or encourage someone to, like, have a shift in their minds to be
Yeah,
able to deal with that?
that's a great question, and really mindset I believe is at the core of any type of change or shift, especially something that can be dramatic, traumatic, whatever you want to put on there when it comes to losing half of yourself, right? Like I can sit back and look at that. But the first thing I would suggest is to give yourself grace. It took time to get you to the place that you're in this moment. So assuming that that's gonna change overnight is a fallacy. So first, give yourself grace, and in that space of grace, I would also ask that you acknowledge that the change is necessary. And what I mean by that is one of my greatest mantras, I've got many, Keith, is change is initiated when change is acknowledged. Meaning that we first have to commit to knowing that this action or this behavior or this mindset is necessary. Um, and for me, man, and sometimes, man, I've been taught, my mentor says sometimes change happens by hell or high water. It may come by embarrassment, by separation, but when it's time and it's necessary, especially for those that are suffering from things that are challenging in your body, and I can speak to this. I can honestly speak to this, being one that has went through it. Yeah, when you go through enough and your body puts you through enough, you begin to make a shift. So first, give yourself grace. Second, acknowledge. Three, find a true support system. For me, man, my mindset, once I gave myself grace, once I acknowledged that the change was necessary, I had to get around different levels of people. I had to get around individuals that can support me in that space. For me, in the weight loss journey, it happened through getting around a different ecosystem of people. And in that ecosystem of people, I started to find my tribe. My mindset towards exercising, or if that word exercise is a bad word to you, being active, right? My mindset towards being active and appreciation for activity of my body shifted. It became one of the small habits that I adopted, so much so that it became innate, Keith, where I want for that thrill or that energy of exercise more than I want that ice cream, or more than I want that favorite snack. Now, I'll be honest with you, Keith,
Mm,
the inner fat boy is still there, and I don't cheat my stomach,
mm,
but I love myself more enough to one understand moderation, and two understand that I don't know the minute nor the hour, but whatever time I do have left on this earth, whatever mission or accomplishment that will be set upon me, I want to feel better about me. I want to feel better about living and do it differently. So for me, I had to again give myself grace, acknowledge the fact that whatever change or behavior or habit that I was looking to break, relearn, unlearn, or re-educate myself on was more important than whatever was behind me. And then we've all heard this one, Keith, just 1% better every day, man. Like every day seeking progression, not perfection, but progression, like understanding that, hey man, I want to look up 365 days from now and be 365% better.
yeah,
And these are the small habits that will get me to that place where now after those 365 days, man, it becomes so innate in me that I don't think about it anymore. Those habits just habitually just have relearned and reformed, and the old things have passed away.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And as I said, that's just really great advice for anybody if you have any kind of challenge and you're trying to make any kind of major life change. So, yeah, it's just really important to the mindset is everything, and just surrounding yourself with people that are going to be, supportive
Sure.
of you in that change. It's just crucial. So, and so what would be like if someone like said and shift into someone that's just newly diagnosed, like they just went in and the doctor told them like you have type 2 diabetes, they might
Mhm.
have had some symptoms, kind of ignored it, and then symptoms got to be more and more. They had an annual physical and the doctor came back with that news. So how would you think someone would need to kind of frame themselves like um to get into the proper mindset and dealing with that?
Yeah. I think the first and foremost is to do your research. With anything that's new, we're in 2025. Like, man, we got Siri, Google, Alexa, Home, and everything in between. Um, I think with any type of news, especially when it comes to your body and how your body reacts to food, frustration, stress, medicine, and all of those things, I think the first thing to do, in my opinion, is to become more informed. Know what you're dealing with. Know everything about that challenge that's going on within your body, so that way you can make informed decisions, not sporadic decisions, not frustrated decisions, not what Uncle Pete them said decisions, but really informing and empowering yourself with information. Um, my mentor says, "Good questions get good answers." So my next question would go towards the doctors, maybe potentially on different ways to approach this. What are some holistic approaches? What are some things that have worked in the past? What are some things that I haven't thought of? What are some medications that I'm already taking that could counteract? Right, start asking some good questions. Um, And in the midst of that, give yourself some grace, right? Always find space for grace. Um, but inform yourself. And then once you inform yourself, again, find groups. Remember, you're not I don't know the statistics, Keith, but I dare to believe that you're not alone. I dare to believe that there's others that are going through similar things, if not even family members. But find your tribe, and then in that space, slowly but surely, again, that I have to go back to that 1% daily. Um, Slowly but surely, start to find ways that, whether it be your habits in the morning, whether it be the habits that you have during the day, where it comes to exercise or being active or eating or things of that nature, start to become more routine. Um, Routine happens through developing small habits. So big things happen, or the little things make the big things happen. So that's what I would encourage those that are new, maybe are just finding out, maybe those that, man, I haven't dealt with any severe ailments or ailments that have been to this form of challenge my whole life. And now all of a sudden, here it is. I'm whatever age that is, and you're telling me this, yeah, it could be very cumbersome, very impactful, maybe even depressing. So um, grace has always been a space that adds favor to any emotion, because we all deal with different devils on different levels, and we have to give ourselves space to grow, mature, and understand that we ain't got it all together. So I think that will always be necessary. Matter of fact, I know that. um, Becoming informed and empowered, especially with the mediums that we have today, I would encourage that, again, with any challenge, with anything, period, anything that you want to become more astute on, do your research. And then again, double down on the tribe, as well as starting to now become more intentional, maybe even to the point where you start journaling as well, where you can share your thoughts and acknowledge how you feel through paper, and keep track of the things that are going on in this new shift of life.
Yeah, so definitely you would do that as far as to have a form of accountability,
Sure.
and then that's probably one of the most important things is, be able to, be able to measure, your steps and your progress, and also have, like, accountability. So what would you say, like, someone that's now that, they may be, down on themselves,
Mm,
they tried, this diet and, this, program before and it didn't work, and, they've tried this medication and it didn't work, or they can tolerate the side effects of a medication.
mm.
What would you say to someone that might be, they might be down, they might be, depressed and may have a lot of self-pity
Yeah.
about that condition?
Yeah. Mm, the pit of pity. And I wrote a word about that one, man. That could be very cumbersome. Um, Man, for me, one of my greatest breakthroughs in my pit of pity, man, my Joseph moments, has been journaling. Really, you use the word accountability, right? And a lot of people don't like that word, right? It holds you to what it is that you were gonna do, and when you begin to live in that space, from a self-preservation, right? Like, it's starting from the inside out. um, Change is inevitable. So again, what I love about new days is it's always another opportunity to learn from experience, not start all over. And I think for me, one of the greatest mindset shifts, or one of the greatest um, initiatives as it pertains to resiliency, has been to look at a situation as an opportunity to show greatness rather than just back down from it or allow it to overcome. If I can't find a way, making a way. And I'll be honest with you, Keith, we're talking about something that is dealing with our temple, right? We only get one time to live. So making excuses about how I conduct what I've been given control over for my business, being my body, man, I don't see how that adds value. It surely didn't add value for me. Um, Feeling a certain type of way because something didn't work out is understandable. But man, fall 7, get up 8. Hey, there has to be a sense of resiliency in you, whether that be innately or through your tribe, to keep moving forward. How do you do that in that space? My mentor always taught me, man, celebrate progress. I celebrate progress, man. Whatever that is, find the progress and celebrate that space. Live in that space. Find hope in that space and move forward. Um, we are a resilient people, and it's important that that sense of resiliency not be forgotten, and that we live in that. So much so that we love ourselves enough to say, hey, man, come hell or high water, this is not easy. But if it was easy, man, everybody would do it. If it was easy, then, hey, I wouldn't have this, but now that I know that I do, I'm glad that I at least know, because I was wondering why I was feeling this way. I was wondering why I was, reacting this way. And now that I know these things, I can take the agency, and take the accountability to make a difference. And honestly, Keith, I think we owe ourselves that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, definitely. Well, I'm sure that there's a lot of wisdom packed in here. I'm hoping that a lot of our listeners and viewers will, take heed of what you said. Like I said again, I really appreciate you taking the time, Brother
Sure.
Troy, to enlighten us. And I definitely got to have you back on again. We give some more. I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of great feedback from this. So I really appreciate you taking the time out to spread some word of wisdom, some word from someone that's been there. They can hear from me, and they can take what I say or not take it, but someone that's been in the fight, that's
Sure.
had to deal with that, and has been able to, overcome that challenge, and to give people. I hope that this episode provides some encouragement for somebody. Like I said, we can encourage one person to make that
Absolutely.
major change in their life, then it's just worth doing this episode. So again, I would like to thank you for being here. Did you want to say any last parting words?
Oh, sure. Well, thank you, man. I thank you. I encourage you to continue to do what you're doing, fight the good fight. Understand that information is key. And for anyone that is out there is listening, please feel free to reach out. For me, my goal is to speak at every bariatric surgery center nationwide, to use my story of weight loss by having bariatric surgery, um, as a testimony that is possible. Um, and you can keep the weight off. You can put yourself in a position to live a lifestyle, um, that you choose, a healthy lifestyle, an active lifestyle, a vibrant lifestyle.
Well, again, just thank you so much. And like I said, this is someone that's speaking from experience firsthand. And we'll also have a link to your organization in our show notes. So if anybody's want to see the organization, the Young Men for Christ, and they want to find out what it's about or support your organization, we definitely will put that into the show notes so anybody can click on that link and find out more information. And so you can look for his show, the Bro Code podcast, and it's also, you can look it up on YouTube and stuff as well. So thank you again, Brother Troy, for helping us, and also just thank everybody for listening. and look forward to the next. I know we're going to get a lot of feedback from this, and just continue just to support us, subscribe, spread it to your friends and family. Just promote us every way you can. So thank you again, everyone, and just want you to continue to be well and be blessed. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this informative journey. The content of this podcast is solely the professional opinion of the host for informational purposes only. It should not be considered a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you're experiencing any health issues or concerns, we strongly recommend that you seek the counsel of a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes.